first of all, before we even go further, you are recently married, so congratulations on that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You know, in our society, most people are like, "Hey, you don't want to give this. Who go marry you? Which man is coming for you?" But you just got married and you're a young lady. Is this also a decision that you and your partner share? Does he also not want to have kids?
Yes, so funny enough, universe led me to a man that didn't want to have kids as well. So I mean, like you said, society always be like, "Who's gonna marry if you don't want to have kids?" So even my mother said the same thing to me when she realized I said I didn't want to have kids. She said, "Who's going to marry you like that?" I said, "Don't worry, I'll find a man that will marry me." And I did find a man that didn't want to have kids. And interestingly, it wasn't that I said it first. He said it first. One day we're just having a conversation. He just goes, "Oh, he doesn't want to have kids." I'm like, "Me too. I don't want to have kids." I was like, "Are you sure you're not just saying that because you like me?" And then I showed him a blog post that I had made and an interview I had already done, in 2020, talking about my decision to not have kids. I was like, "Okay, awesome. So we're very compatible." I'm like, "Yes, we are." And then we got married
Wow.
this January. Yeah.
It's nice to hear from other women who do not want to have kids, and they're actually meeting men who don't want to have kids as well, young
Hmm.
men, and not men. Because I want to bring this up, but this was not even in our discussion.
Hmm.
Most times when you say, "Oh, you don't want to have kids, you want to get married, or you want to have a long term partner," get ready to be with an older man. Get ready to be with a man that already has kids, so he's not interested in having kids anymore.
I strongly believe that there's one person out there that is perfect for everybody. So you will always find your person, and you don't have to compromise on your standards or compromise on what it is that you want. You will find the person that wants the same things as you.
Thank you. No, you're talking to me. I'm telling you, because thank you. I'm listening because thank you. It's funny because and I'm gonna cut this out of the show. It's funny because even I too when I say, "Oh, I want a long term partner," automatically I don't think of dating a young person. I just believe that I don't want to have kids. I'm probably gonna be end up with a widower, or I'm gonna end up with a man who is 60 or 50 already has so many kids, so he's about to start another part of his life. I'm gonna be very
Mm,
honest with you. I have never consciously thought about meeting another young man who we're both in our 30s, or just young middle professionals who don't want to have kids and just want to be together. It has never been a thought that not because I don't think it's possible.
mm,
It's just not something that I think would happen for me because of what are the probability of you finding someone like that. And when you're being realistic, like they always say, the realistic option is to assume that as a child-free woman, you're going to end up with a much older man. So I really love your story. But you mentioned something where you say that it's just because you don't have the capacity to do it at the moment. You have all of things that you want to do. Do you think that down the line, when you feel like maybe you're not juggling so many things, where you feel like there's a part of your life that's calm so you can take up other responsibilities, would you be open to the idea of now having kids later in your life?
Well, never say never, right? Because the funny thing about life is when you say never, we say it can never be me. I feel like God takes it as a challenge. It's like, can never be you. I will show you that it can be you. So I'm just going to say never say never. If in the future I change my mind, then hey, I mean, change is the only thing that is constant. Because I mean, I went from wanting kids. I mean, I love kids, right? I went from always wanting to have my own daughter to okay, I don't think I want to have my own. I just want to be an auntie, and I might change my mind tomorrow. I say, okay, I want to have kids now. And thankfully, science has advanced. The medical science has gone so far. In terms of upgrades and what you can do. That you can have a child in your 50s, in your 60s. You can always adopt. You can do IVF. You can use a surrogate. So, I mean, if I feel like I'm going to change my mind, I can always freeze my eggs. I mean, the options are limitless. As long as we're alive and God permits us to do certain things, we'll do it. I feel like the pressure on African woman is too much. Like your life is mapped out from the moment the doctor says that is a girl in your womb. You know that when you come out, you have to be modeled like, oh, you have to learn how to cook. You have to be a decent woman. You can't wear certain things. You can't do certain things. You can't say certain things. You're like, you have to be marriageable, right? So you start your life. For them, as a Nigerian woman, life you already before you say Jack Robinson, they've already put you in crèche, from crèche nursery, from nursery primary, from primary secondary university. You don't have a chance to masters. When you finish masters, you go and do NYSC. From NYSC, you have to get a job. When you get a job, they want you to marry. So at every point of your life, you're living for somebody else, right? It's like you're living for your parents because you have to do well. They're putting in so much for into you, in terms of your school fees, and, raising you. Then you get married. You have to give yourself as a wife. You're doing this, you're doing that. Then children come along the way. You have to give so much of yourself to your child. Then at some point, it's like, what about me? I mean, I admire people, I admire our mothers and our aunts that could do it, but I know that I'm not going to be the best version of myself if I'm pouring from an empty cup. If I'm giving so much of myself to so many people all at the same time, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have to excel in my career, I will run mad. I will run mad. And I'll probably wake up
I
one day and just
agree.
burn everybody in the house with me.
What you said, honestly, it resonates with me so much. And when you even talk about ways the mental capacity after a long day at work, you come back, you still have kids. It made me think about something because when I used to do like 9 to 5,
Hmm.
I was always confused how my colleagues had 4 kids. I'm like, we do the same job. I
Thank
go
you.
home, I don't even want to hear anybody. But you're going home to take care of four. How?
Like, don't we have the
How
same
are you
24
doing
hours
this?
in a day? Or do you have extra hours I don't
I
know
don't
about?
know. But it's just like what you said. Some people just have the capacity to juggle all of those things. And for some people, being a mother is the number one hat that they wear. So
Mm-hmm.
going to work, is just like the extracurricular activity. Going home
Absolutely.
is actually their main job. But for
Mm,
someone like me, and just like what you said, it's the opposite. Going
thank
to work
you.
is my main work.
It
So
is.
going back home is for me to go decompress. I'm not going home to now take care of another person. Most people often say, is it because you have like a traumatic childhood? I want to get some of the responses and reactions because you're very open about your decision to be child free. What are some responses that you've gotten from the people you've spoken to or from the general public?
So I want to respond to something you said before, the opinions I've gotten about whether it was a traumatic experience. No, I wouldn't say I had a traumatic experience growing up, right? But I had my mom, but I also had my aunt that happened to be my godmother at the same time, and I'm named after her. Funny enough, but she poured into me so much. As is all of my actually, it's not just her. I have two aunts that poured so much love into me that I never felt you know the absence of my mother or anything. And it just made me feel like, okay, I want to be an aunt. Like, I feel like as an aunt, you can give so much more love as well as a mother. It does not have any limitations. So I'm very happy to just be an aunt and pour love into my nieces and my nephews, and not necessarily have my own. Apart about the general feedback I get, of course, I mean, being a northern woman, one in Nigeria, you're always going to get, what I say, you don't know what you're talking about. No, you can't say that. How will you say that? No, you have it. I'm just like, okay. Except you're going to put a child in my stomach by force. I'm not going to have a child. Thankfully, our generation is more open-minded. So some of them will be like, oh yeah. And honestly, the people that are always open-minded to my decision are young mothers. So like, girl, I understand. Don't worry. You don't have to explain to me. I understand. I admire your decision. The people that tend to be like,
Mm-hmm.
that I meet the resistance from are usually, the older, the middle age and the older, the aunties and the mothers. Just like, no, how can you say that? You have to have, you're married, look at you. And you people, you waste this, your fine jeans, blah blah. I'm just like, everybody be all right. We're all gonna be all right. So just leave me alone.
Wow. Thank you so much, Bondi, for joining us today to actually share your story. It's been such a pleasure talking to you and
Thank
connecting.
you.
I've had a lot of fun. I mean, I'm happy. Thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
joining.
I had a good time talking here too. Thank
Yay!
you.
Thank you.